Welcome to the Black Dice Society. This is season 2, episode, I think I'd know, 19, Queen of the Raven Crown. Tatiana, you were in the Vage Detective Agency. Flintlock tasked you all with going and searching for the werewolf Gimmicks. And if you successfully found and eliminated this terrible creature that Desmond has some unfinished business with anyway, she would reward you quite handsomely. But in doing so, it meant returning to Koshmar, the land now dread domain of your beloved friend Voronika, who you have seen recently, and yet you have no recollection of this, Tatiana. As you pass through the door, stepping into the mist alongside your companions, there is the familiar swirling gray chill. And as the mists begin to part, what do Tatiana's eyes see?
Tatiana sees Voronika, only not quite as pulled together as she last saw her in Barovia. And now she's seeing the vines swirling in and out of her body, moving as if they have a mind of their own. She still has her humanoid form of the Eladrin that she once was, but you can tell that she is a mixture of Koshmar and who was Nika at this point. And Voronika just sort of tips her head and smiles knowingly at Tatiana. And so you have returned.
Voronika, you look awful.
Tatiana, as you see Voronika standing before you, you also realize your companions aren't here. Valentine, Uriah, Finn, Nahara, Desmond, you are alone.
Voronika, where is everyone else? Where is Valentine?
You'll see them soon.
That is cryptic, so you know where they are.
I do.
Why would you keep Valentine from me? You know what happens if you keep her from me.
I know.
I'm gonna lunge at you.
I know what happens when Valentine is kept from you.
Voronika, when she lunges at you, what happened?
She basically sinks into the ground and reappears about 30 feet behind Tatiana. Tatiana. Valentine is safe. Everyone else is safe.
So why am I here?
I thought it might be good to refresh your memory.
Does it
remember
hurt?
last time you were here?
Yes, Tatiana, recall on the eve of the battle with Strahd von Zarovich, after having reignited the beacon, bringing hope to the people of Barovia, seeing Strahd von Zarovich's oncoming hordes, Nika took you away.
Look, last time was fun and all, but my friends need me. It was really embarrassing. I had so much FOMO from missing a fight.
Yes, but it was necessary. Don't you get it?
No, I mean...
If you had gone into their fight, Strahd, quite frankly, would have been more alert and on his toes, expecting a battle, seeing you there. Take away their strongest fighter, and suddenly it looks very easy. Suddenly they look far weaker. Suddenly, he gets cocky and careless. I have my reasons.
Well, he did murder Uriah, but we handled that.
Yes, and those are connections you needed as well for Uriah's sake.
It's just how many times can you bring someone back, you know? I feel like you lose a bit each time. I see your point. I am extremely strong and menacing, but maybe I could have protected him had I been there.
Yes, but the wheels of motion wouldn't have been set. The whole thing was necessary. for each of you.
The wheels of motion?
Mm-hmm. Your fates, your stories, your destinies.
I don't know if I have a destiny.
Oh, you
My
do.
destiny was finding the group, being here. My story's done.
Stories don't end, they add new chapters.
So what's the next chapter here in Koshmar? Don't you have attendance? It's lonely here. It's so dark.
Well, right now it's just you and I because I wanted to talk to you before bringing in everyone else. So you understood why. I didn't steal you away. Quite frankly, I was trying to give you all an advantage.
Okay, so it seems backwards, but really, you give an advantage when you take away the most powerful, strongest, most menacing, terrifying one of us. So you were
Yes.
helping my friends.
And you.
Thank you.
Thanks isn't needed. You were
Then
helping me
no,
out as
thank
much
you.
as you don't have to say anything. Quite frankly, it was rather pleasing to hear about what actually happened to Strahd. Poor little bat.
You don't have to feel bad for him. He deserved
No,
everything.
he did. Too many pawns moving around on his chessboard. It was about time someone played checkmate.
Because all the queens leaped over the pawns.
Or perhaps what he thought the pawn was actually the queen.
You? I won't say anything. It's better if you don't say anything and then everyone thinks you're smarter. I know that.
It's not a battle of wits.
So tell me, do the Dark Lords like have a meetup?
Oh, every so often we harass each other, sure.
There's not like a yearly party.
No, but I am quite tempted to open the mists of Koshmar and let them say hello.
You can
and
do
then send
that?
them on their merry way. I heard they have.
Oh,
Strahd and Aslan were here when I first took over.
that's right. Wait, what if we wanted to take them all out? You could just open the doors.
Let's just say that I am very much appreciating what you all are doing. Seeing your abilities grow. It's not a bad
Okay.
thing.
Voronika, when you mention seeing their abilities grow, you notice something's changed about Tatiana. She was always fearsome and muscular, but she seems more vibrant and robust somehow, just even more full of life, which may not have even been possible for someone such as her. And she's wearing an unusual pair of gloves that clearly radiate with power.
What a lovely pair of gloves you have there.
You said that like you're jealous. You can't have my gloves.
Oh, I have no need for the gloves. I'm actually admiring them.
Oh. Okay, I feel like I should never take what you say at face value.
Never take what anyone says at face value, Tatiana.
Well, except for Valentine, of course.
That's your decision.
Oh, and maybe
Gloves, they
Uriah?
suit you.
Hmm?
Well, depending on who is taking up shop in Uriah's head.
You make a good point there.
They suit you. You have a glow about you.
Ah, well. Watch this. She punches a tree. And then it like makes a whole fist mark through.
Yes. It's unusual, Tatiana, because two things happen. Yes, Voronika, her fist explodes through this tree, shattering it with a spray of light when she punches it. But Tatiana, when you hit this tree, you're aware with your gloves of soul catching that you don't just damage your target. You're actually taking something from it. Just like you said, every time you're resurrected, a piece of you doesn't return. In a very real sense, every time you hit someone, a piece of them doesn't return either. This tree is not just a tree. You feel a soul in it, a connection in it. If you would, Tatiana, give me a wisdom check with advantage. Despite all appearances to the contrary, Tatiana, you are both incredibly wise and also know a thing or two about forests, so wisdom, please.
It's a 22. Oh my God, Tree, I'm so sorry.
It's not just the tree, Tatiana. That tree is Voronika. And that tree is Voronika. In that plant, in that grass. As much as Strahd was so fond of going on and on about, I am the land, she actually is.
I slowly turn to make eye contact with Voronika. Tree?
I'm not exactly a tree, but I am Koshmar.
Do you like it?
Oh, it's perfection. It suits me. It's what I've wanted.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. And don't worry, that's tantamount to my stubbing my toe.
Okay, I'll be careful. When we were girls,
Appreciate it.
I always knew you were destined for big things. Everyone knew.
Did you ever think of yourself destined for such things?
Oh no, I thought I would die in the pits long ago. Every day, I'm confused why I'm still alive. If I'm being honest.
Well, if I'm being honest, Tatiana, you always had the greatness inside of you, which is just now starting to come out.
Voronika, again, this is your domain. It's not just your land, it is you. You realize there's something else about Tatiana. She has something else, something that doesn't belong here is on her person. Something she's carrying.
What else do you have in your pockets?
You think I'm just going to empty my pockets? I was just told not to be upfront. But let's see. There's like a really old turkey leg. Oh, how long has that been in there? The
That's one
gloves
way to
are
make
on.
jerky.
Yeah, the jerky. Oh, that's still good. Takes a bite.
And
a block of wood. That is, no, I always do this. It is an actual black rose. Don't worry about that. That's just like a missed talisman. It's nothing. I'll put it back.
Tatiana, you can't hold a rose out to a druid and say, no, no, no. Let me see.
Well, I'm a druid too now. I hand her
I
the
know.
rose. Just don't careful with the petals. I don't know.
Voronika, as she holds the rose out towards you, you understand instinctively you should not touch that rose, Voronika.
You can keep holding it for me. I just wanted to look, not touch.
Make up
Don't
your
worry about the
mind.
petals. No, I said I wanted to see it. I didn't say I wanted to hold it.
Tatiana does not have a light touch. So when I grab this thing, do the petals ever fall off?
Tatiana, you feel like you should have crushed this 7 times over, putting it in and out of bags, roughhousing with it, and yet it also is this perfect black rosebud. Always.
How'd you know I wrestled it?
We've been doing this a while, Tatiana.
Hmm.
Voronika, she did say it was a missed talisman, but you realize there's much more to that flower that maybe you might be able to make some use of.
How very curious. Keep it safe.
Look, an old boo gave me this, and I'm pretty sure it can take me to destroy a certain lord who's into roses. I don't know if you know him. I don't know if he's at the Christmas party.
Oh, I'm aware.
Okay, right. I figured because you're like all knowing and you've got the intellectus of the tree. And anyway, any tips for defeating him?
Let me see what I can think of. But perhaps it might be best to reunite you with the others. For now. I'm sure they're wondering where you went again.
That's true. Every time I walk away, they all miss me. Everyone's like, "Where's Tatiana?" They all think that. Well, I guess it's nice to have friends in dark and scary places.
Oh, always.
Tell me, Voronika, do you depart or do you send Tatiana elsewhere?
Oh, this collection of misty vines sort of grows between the two of them and interlocks and create this briar of roses. But unlike Tatiana's black rose, they're white roses that look like they're tipped in red. But if you take a closer look, Tatiana, you realize that the red is not red of the petals, it is blood on the petals of the white roses. And in your distraction of looking at these blossoms, Voronika's suddenly gone.
And with that, hello and welcome to the Black Dice Society, Season 2, Episode 19, Queen of the Raven Crown. As always, the Black Dice Society is a horror story. As such, you might encounter things that you don't normally encounter in other actual play live streams. As always, I'm aware of the cast lines and veils. They have ways of contacting me if something goes wrong. So if a scene should just suddenly stop, maybe it's because somebody was uncomfortable and we had to move on abruptly. Up to and including blood roses, which we're just starting off with, which is nice. Before I dive in completely into all the introductions, Nora, what'd you just say to us here in chat?
I was just messing around and shuffling this Taroka deck and not really paying attention. And I just did this and pulled the Dark Lord card. And I was like, you know what? Nope, gonna put this down. Gonna put it down.
We've been at
In
this.
fact, and Tanya was like, put it down now.
Yeah, we've been at this for quite a while. And the deck is still batting an absolute 1,000%. Before I forget, because I know who I am, and more importantly, I know what I am. Next week, if you're at Gen Con, you can come see us live. 1 o'clock Central, Thursday at Gen Con. We've been tweeting about it, but if you want to come and see us all in person, do what we do, come check it out. With that being said, first, let us meet all of these wonderful people. I'm actually going to start down here at the bottom with our wonderful guest, Voronika.
Hi, everyone. I am the Muse. My pronouns are she, her, as are Voronika's. And tonight I'm playing your Dark Lord of Koshmar, Voronika Naprsayanka.
You know, I never even bother trying to say it, because even if I could manage to get it out, it never sounds as great as that.
And I don't give you the two names, which I could throw in, but yeah, we'll leave it be.
You know what? Give him the full Heldry. Give him the old razzle dazzle if you've got it off the top of your
You want
head.
the full one?
Yes.
Okay. So it's Voronika Bogania Polsen Naprstayanka.
As one does. AKA Nika in the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Desmond.
Oh, hi. I'm DJ Knight all over the internet, but here I play Desmond, a human ranger lycanthrope. Appreciate you being here. Our pronouns are he, him.
Perfect. Tatiana.
Kumi? Ah, yes, Tatiana. Tatiana Astoria, if you will. I have a last name now. I am actually Becca Scott. What's up? You can find me at the Becca Scott, mostly streaming Magic, or on my YouTube channel, Good Time Society, where there's all kinds of content with role-playing games and tabletop game tutorials and whatnot. And next week at Gen Con, after our live Black Dice Society show, about like 4 hours later at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'm running a game on that very same stage, so stick
Hey.
around. Call of Cthulhu. And what else? What else do I say? Tatiana's Barbarian Druid. Yeah, peace.
I thought you were like right after us. I'm glad you're gonna get a break because I thought you. Yeah.
Well, we have a 3-hour show from 1 to what's 3 hours for,
Wow.
and then 2-hour break, and then my show.
All right. Perfect. Brother Uriah. You are muted, sir.
Well, it wouldn't be a show without me being muted at least once. I was just going to say, I mean, Becca's going to need those 2 hours to get all the blue makeup off
That's true.
in between shows. So we'll see.
Smurf.
Oh,
yes.
God.
Hello, everyone. I am Mark Meir. I use he, him pronouns, as is my character, Brother Uriah Macabre, Cleric of the Grave and Servant of Ezra, Lady of the Mists. And as mentioned, we are going to be at Gen Con, so I think we're going to be doing some cosplaying. And at this juncture, I would like to thank the folks at Forged Foam for making Brother Uriah's shield for me to have. Yes, we'll see if it fits in my
gorgeous.
suitcase. Yes.
Excellent. And Finn.
Hey, I'm back. I decided to come back from where was I? Amsterdam.
Where weren't you? Yes, you were like the international pimp player of mystery.
Sure. Apologize for my voice. I've been sick since I got back. But I'm Fen, your drow Vampire blood hunter with a little bit of warlock. Both Fen and I are she, her pronouns. We've already promoted the game, but also Mark and B-Dave are going to guest with us on Rivals of Waterdeep. So if you're at Gen Con on Friday, I believe you're bringing Baloth and Freely.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna make the triumphant return of Freely, since I got some words for Baloth, since it kind of tricked me into fighting in the Black Pits.
It all worked out great, didn't it?
I mean, yeah, just because you said it was charity, I mean, I guess it was fine.
I mean, Whittle got most of the prizes, but let's face it.
And Whittle is a wonderful person. Yes, sorry, please continue. Finn.
And also, if you are at Gen Con, 2 other things are happening. The short film about me that premiered at Tribeca last year is also going to play at Gen Con. What do you?
That's the fans cheering.
I'm gonna get no peace with B Dave and DJ in the same place. I will have no peace all weekend. And then if you are around Thursday after our show, there is a BIPOC social mixer. I am one of the leads for that. So, hey, other BIPOC, please come and hang out. There'll be a cash bar and snacks and me. So come hang out.
I might be one of the snacks at the bar. Who can say? Who can say? You got to get there and find out. Nahara.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nora Ibrahim. You can find me everywhere at Norological. My pronouns are she, her, as is my character, Nahara, who is a reborn fallen Azamar undead warlock with a few levels of college with a spirit bard, and man are the Taroka decks spirity with me. I will also be at Gen Con, other than our BDS show on Thursday. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will be streaming games with the Glass Cannon Network, so be sure to follow them as well. Friday, we're going to be, Friday 10 a.m., we're going to be at the Westin Ballroom 5, which also Becca is going to be in. And
Yeah,
it's
I'm
going
in
to
that
be,
too.
yeah, it's going to be a star-studded, action-packed, audience interactive improv chaotic RPG game, so please show up for that. Saturday and Sunday, Glass Cannon and I will be in booth 174. You'll know what it is because it's literally a glass booth that we have set for streaming inside. Saturday at 11:30 we will be playing Scum and Villainy, a space adventure, and at 10:30 we will be playing Vampire the Masquerade.
Excellent. I too am all over Gen Con, but I have very much not recovered from Comic-Con. So at some point between here and there, I'll put out all the places I'm at. Before I forget, My dice are available with Die Hard Dice, my Mintaka set. I don't know how well that's coming through, but again, you can use code BDS to get 10% off of that. You can still get our super dope Dark Lords dice, which I try to show but not drop and break anything on. All kinds of other things. Thank you again, Secret Lab chairs, if you want one. Links coming up. Our super dope art, always cool. Patreon, patreon.com/The Black Dice Society. Thank you all so much. You literally make it possible to do what we do. Sage was otherwise occupied tonight and couldn't be with us, but Valentine can be in your formation in Idle Champions. So get her now. She's available and live to play. Also, thank you to Idle Champions. These are the codes coming up in chat right now, because Lauren Urban, who is a genius, when she realized that we only had 8 episodes left, was like, why don't I just approve all the codes now, and then you can't forget? And I was like, you have managed to foolproof the process, and yet I'm sure I'm going to find a way to still mess it up. But either way, speaking of messing things up, I think it's time to get on with our show. Before we dive in properly to our spooky story, we would be remiss if we did not mention one more thing.
Oh, yes, the plug that I forgot. I will be appearing in Stitch of Fate, a podcast by night. That will be at 10 p.m. on the main stage on the Friday night. So a little after Arrivals.
Hey, all right.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know when I'm anywhere. I may actually be in Ravenloft right now. If you've been following me on Twitter, I was out till 2 or 3 in the morning every night and up at 9 every day. And even since I've come home, my body's kept doing that, staying up till 2 or 3 and then waking up at 9. So 1 foot into the next world. But speaking of the next world, when you all depart the Vage Detective Agency, you all enter into the mists, the familiar, cold, swirling maelstrom as described previously. But when you come out, it is quite unexpected and different from the last time that you briefly laid eyes on Koshmar. What do their eyes see as they emerge from the mists?
Koshmar is lush, and there are plants and trees pretty much everywhere. You can see that there are walking paths that wind through the woods, going in various directions, but this time there's sound. You can hear animals. You can actually hear people talking in the distance. And right in front of you, you see a branch moving a little bit. And as you look to that branch, you see that there is this tiny little sparrow-like creature sitting in the branch, just trilling away, one of the sources of the bird song that you hear floating through the air. But it realizes that it's being watched, and in its startled state, it stands up on its 6 legs and skitters away up the tree branch instead of taking flight. And you realize as you take a closer look at that tree branch that some of the branches look more skeletal than they do wooden.
Ah, how intriguing.
One important point of clarification, Voronika. To be clear, you do not see the Dark Lord of this domain just yet. But for Desmond in particular, who spent his life in the woods of Koshmar, would this be a familiar approximation of anywhere in particular, or would this seem all new even to him?
Oh no, it's very familiar. It'd also be familiar to Tatiana and Valentine. It's the clearing that used to be their play area when they were children.
As
There's
you
a collection of stones that almost act like a table that are still there, more appropriate for children. And even one of the trees still has all of their initials engraved into the side, except the black ooze of sap still leaks from the markings as opposed to being dried up like it once was in Koshmar.
As you all emerge from the mist, Brother Uriah remarking out loud, you see Tatiana is already standing there looking slightly confused. There is no sign of Valentine, and yet Finn has returned. When you all arrived in Elsewhere, Finn was not there, but Valentine was. Now that you have arrived here, Finn is here, Valentine isn't.
Finn, you're back.
I was here the whole time, wasn't I? Where have you been?
We were somewhere else. Yes.
Actually, none of you were here. I was here and no one was here.
But where's Valentine?
Where's Valentine?
She wasn't here when I got here.
I thought she was with you. How did you get ahead of us, Tatiana?
Yes, just to clarify, Finn, for you, Harkon Lucas had Desmond by the throat, the mist closed in, and it's now. The rest of you know you detoured through Elsewhere, that Desmond was grievously wounded, that Brother Uriah healed him, and you had your experience with the various strange abominations there in Detective Vage at her detective office that was just sitting in the middle of this strange place, who tasked you to go to Koshmar, and now here you are with Finn standing next to you.
I did give Desmond a good berry. You left out of the recap.
That was an important part, that the good berry was what actually put him over the line. That is also true. Sorry, Finn. Yes, what were you saying?
I turn around and go, Desmond, you were almost dead when I last saw you.
Oh,
Interesting, because a lot's happened since then.
yes. We were actually in the presence of a detective. We were thinking about hiring her to search for you, but I am so glad to see you here.
Also, we're engaged.
Oh, yes. Yes, actually. Finn, could I have I know this isn't necessarily the best time, but could I have a very brief word with you?
Yes, but you should probably ask Nahara first if you're going to ask me to marry you too.
No,
That's what I said.
it is
What
no,
have I missed?
just well, I suppose I can just ask you in front of everyone. Then in Darkonian tradition, when one gets married, usually both the bride and the groom, if they are both Darkonian, have their parents or someone who knew them as a child, who gives them to the other person. And well, considering what I've learned of my parentage, I mean, you've known me since I was quite young.
True, I did save you.
Yes, and you're the friend I've known the longest. I wonder if you might serve in that capacity. For me, I mean, I'm the Darkonian in the equation, and I mean, it's just a tradition. I just don't want to invite Aslan.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's going to be hard because he's... Yes, Uriah.
Oh, but he's not. He's not anymore. Don't you see? Since, well, what happened? I haven't heard him once. I can't sense him at all. Finally free.
Really?
As Uriah says this, Nahara hears in her head, yes, free.
Oh no.
So, what say you, Fen?
I'm going to actually surprise Uriah and give him a very big hug.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh. Yes. Thank you. I assume that's an affirmative.
Yes, and then I sternly look him in the eye. I forget, do I have to look up to look Uriah in the eye?
He's
pretty
quite tall.
Yeah.
Quite gangly and tall.
So this will be hilarious because DJ and I have done this in person. I look him in the eye and I'm like, I'm honored and I will do this. But if you hurt Nahara, I will break your kneecaps.
I would deserve no less if I hurt Nahara.
And then I look
Yes,
at
please,
Nahara and
please.
give her the same thing. I'll rip your wings off if you hurt him.
And you
Oh
say
my.
that is why I love you, Fen.
that was badass.
While
Sounds
we're
about
on the
right.
subject, really briefly, I wanted, and I'm so pleased that Uriah, that you have asked Fen to be such a big part of our wedding ceremony. I would also like to include. I would also wanted to include Fen, and since you have done so in this manner, she turns to Tatiana and says, "Tatiana,
I mean, yes.
I understand that you have kept a big secret for so long, and
It was
well,
hard.
I wouldn't be as strong as I am without your training. And I was wondering if you would give me the honor of being my maid of honor."
She hugs you.
Yes, yes, or more appropriately, the maid of muscle. You
Yes,
see, because you're made of muscle.
that's right.
Uriah.
I'm sorry. I understand. Usually we tell some jokes at the wedding. Desmond, you're the best man. You'll have to come up with food.
Something borrowed, something
I can do
blue.
that. And then right after she says something borrowed, Desmond kind of leans into Tatiana, just like, you have got to let them finish sentences on occasion, because
What did I do?
Exactly.
And I actually lean over to Desmond. So we're getting matching suits, right?
Was that a question? I thought that was expected.
Look, I'm just asking. You're kind of woodsy and natural in browns, and I'm in blacks and grays and purple. Just making sure.
I mean, the dirt is black though, so depending on where you go, so you have to, blacks and browns just kind of blend together. You can fit them together with anything.
All right. I just give him a little fist bump.
So we're not all wearing all white? That's not a thing? I don't know. I've been to one
You
wedding.
should not wear all white for this.
Okay.
Tatiana, please
No.
and thank you.
But like a dress?
You can wear a
You can wear
dress.
whatever you'd like.
But usually, if I've got this wrong, someone tell me. I'm not human. Doesn't the bride usually wear the white?
Right. That's right.
Which is why I was saying that she shouldn't wear white. I do have an idea for some lilies for you, Tatiana. If this is anything like, if we end up somewhere nice where there's a good forest, I can find you some lilies that'll just kind of set off with your hair, look great.
Desmond, you've thought about my flower scheme? Thank you.
I mean, you can't wear white, but I mean, you could wear a white lily in the hair and it just balances out. And then hopefully there's some nice blue ones, so that way you can fit everything. It'd be nice.
That's a great idea. What is Nahara going to wear? Don't listen, Uriah. Right?
Oh, I'll go over. I'll be over here.
She's planning on wearing a white gown, and
I love it.
Right after,
Can I come back? Have you told her?
She's wearing a white. Don't.
I mean,
What?
it's not a big secret.
It'll clash if you wear white.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said she was wearing a white. That's could be dangerous.
Oh.
Oh, like a
Oh.
Like a white,
Like
the
WIGHT. Yes.
WIGHT.
Not one of those.
What is that spell?
WIGHT spells white. They're a type of undead.
Got it.
under giggles, Desmond leans in the fan, just like, I have the feeling you don't want lilies for this. But is there a flower that
Why-
you'd like to wear during this event?
Why wouldn't I want lilies, Desmond?
I don't know. I just have the feeling that lilies may not be your jam. What kind of flower would you like? So that we can get everybody decked out with flowers. Nice. I'm gonna surprise Nahara with flowers. That I feel like we're gonna see the day to see how that fits. But what kind of flower would you like?
I actually really like lilies.
Then perfect. I've got some ideas.
All
Well,
right.
thank you, everyone. I certainly look forward to the nuptials in slightly less ominous surroundings.
All of you give me wisdom checks, not saves checks. Actually, not you, Finn,
Check.
but it's for everyone else but Finn. Give me a wisdom check.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
What am I rolling then?
You're not rolling anything. This is for them to see if they remember something that you weren't there for.
That is a 22.
20.
30, 20, 22. Nahara.
16.
Nahara, you're thinking about how pretty your dress is going to be.
This was wisdom, yeah.
Yep, it's a wisdom check. You're not in danger. You're just thinking something.
Nat 20.
Natural 20. Desmond, I'm gonna give this one to you. You have a letter for Finn. Same way each of you got letters. Also, there's the small matter of Valentine's tuning crystal that she used to deworm all of you. So I will give you both of those things, Desmond, that just like each of you had sent a letter to yourself that Mangata delivered, there is one for Finn.
Would she have it on her person? Would I know where she would have it if, like, was it in a pocket or something?
No, one of you took it because Mangata gave you all of them. Honestly, I don't recall who took.
I
Finn's
don't
letter.
remember, but it might have been me.
Well, one of you
Or
absolutely
Nahara?
has it.
Out of character, I think it was Brother Uriah.
Oh, yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, Desmond, here we are.
Thank you.
Wait,
Brother
did you
Uriah.
really have a letter in your pocket?
I do.
did.
Well, I've got mine.
She's prepared.
Oh.
Preparation. So Desmond takes the letter and just like, Finn, I believe you need this.
Finn, when he
I already know about the wedding.
This isn't the wedding.
Finn,
This is something else.
when he hands you this letter, it is a letter that you have sent yourself. When your eyes fall on it, you know immediately this is by your own hand. What does your letter look like?
It's a purplish stationery that Isolde probably would have given her, with the ink being a dark violet and a silver seal.
Immediately, Finn, you know. You wrote this, but you have no recollection of doing such a thing. In your name, it's addressed to you. It's not just
Desmond?
addressed to you. It's addressed to a name that your father called you years ago. You don't even know how many decades have passed since anyone has called you that.
And I just kind of look at it and I go, this name, how did you even know to give it to me?
I didn't. We all received letters from Mangata, if you remember Mangata. Much bigger now. Gave us all letters that we wrote to ourselves from the future. And that's why there's a name on there that I would have never known that. In fact, I can't even read it. I don't know what it says, but I do know that to clue you in and make sense of it, I already told them. My letter said to stop trying to please everyone and be the alpha that I was meant to be, which has been something that's been kind of this itch in the back of my mind the entire time we've been here. So that lets you, at least me, know that it's definitely from me. So whatever's in there is going to be from you. If you want to talk about it, cool. If not, also cool. But that's what's there.
And Fenton just kind of keeps tapping the letter, like, just in her hand, like, do I want to open this now? Then she looks at the rest of you. What happened after you read your letters?
Well, they did seem to be genuine messages from our future selves. I'm not sure what everyone else was told, but it did seem to be from me. Mine did.
Huh.
I think mine saved our lives. There were these big monstrosities that were tied up with chains that could spit acid. If we tried to fight it, I don't know what would have happened.
Yes,
There
it did
is-
this to my eyes.
Yes, Finn, as you look at Brother Uriah's eyes, they are jet black. There is no white anywhere. It is like pure inky darkness in his eyes.
And I kind of was distracted by the whole wedding thing when I first looked at him. And I just kind of lean back and keep staring at him. I know we brought you back from the dead, but you weren't like this when I left.
No, the thing, the Cibrix, it's a sort of horrible fiend. It's capable of mutating people, and believe me when I say I understand that I got off lucky.
And you can still see.
Oh, I can see much better than I did before. I can see in the dark now. I suppose most of you already can, or many of you. But yes, it's quite remarkable.
Voronika, as an aside, what time of day is it here? Koshmar, is the sun high in the sky? Is it dusk? Is it dark?
It's mid-afternoon, so there's some sun dappling through the leaves of the trees, a little bit cooler temperature, but a pleasant early spring type of day.
Finn, do you choose to open it or not?
I should mention, just so you know, Veronica is everywhere in this place and watching everything you do. So she'll probably see what you open.
What?
Oh yeah, she is. Like I go over and stroke a tree. I think I just tickled her.
You did.
See?
Can I hear Veronika?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
At
hello.
this point, with eyes wide, Nahara just slowly raises her crystal.
Nahara, what you see doesn't make sense. Again, everywhere in the Dread Domains, you've traveled long enough now that you understand that all of these places are they're prisons. They are a reflection of the Dark Lord of that domain. This time it's different. Tatiana's right. You're seeing trees and stones and grass and animals, but it all reads as her. It's all Voronika. Again, Strahd was so fond of saying how he was the land, but she actually is. She's not hidden anywhere. She is everywhere.
This is remarkable. I've never seen anything like it.
Haven't seen what, as she steps out of the tree that Tatiana just tickled.
Oh,
Oh,
When
Hello.
Voronika appears, again, what does she look like when their eyes fall on her?
She is clearly a darker version of herself than what you saw in ghost form, and you can see that as she stands still, she is still in constant motion as these vines sort of emerge out of the skin, swing around an arm, down the side of the hip, and slink back into her skin under the clothing that she's wearing. And while she doesn't look like the living dead like she used to, she's still not exactly what you would call alive and healthy looking. She's gaunt, her eyes are sunken, and she's smiling, but the smile doesn't reach her eyes.
Although, an important point of clarification, although Voronika has made her appearance, Finn, you still have this letter in your hand. Are you going to open it, or are you going to wait till later?
Well, with Veronika there, I'm not 100% sure about it. But I'll actually pull Desmond aside, because I want him to be there when I open it.
Desmond, what's going through your mind right now? Because obviously you have a slightly complicated relationship with Veronica. So as she appears and Finn is sort of tugging at your arm.
Desmond's just quiet and just kind of taking everything in and just seeing what's there. The last time he remembers seeing Voronika, she did help. And she was a part of giving him a sword that, or a bow that was kind of useful in a lot of situations. So his previous anger is not there anymore. Right now, he's just curious. Like, why did we have to come to Koshmar? Why was there something that sent us to Koshmar? Like, he understands the reasoning that we came, but still, like, there's an underlying current of like, what is this about? That he's not really talking to anybody about, but he's kind of bouncing it in his head of there's no anger. He smoked and barbecued that out and gave it to people in food, but interest, curiosity is where he is mentally.
Mm. When Finn tries to pull you to the side, do you go?
Of course. He glances back and just still is surprised to see Voronika, knowing that there's no way we could come here and not see Voronika, but still just, Okay. What's up, Finn?
I wanted to read the letter, but just to you.
All right. You know I'm here for whatever you need.
You crack the seal and you read it, Finn?
Yes, I do.
The message is very brief. Again, you're certain it's by your own hand, and I've sent you what it says.
This seems more a reminder than prophetic, but just quietly, just so Desmond can hear it. Not everyone's going to make it. You can't take the arrow meant for someone else, no matter how hard you try. Seems like I already did that with Isolde and Nepenthe.
But you didn't, though, because Isolde is still out there somewhere.
As far as I know.
We don't know for sure, but we both know Isolde is a survivor. Isolde is not gonna. She may hold a grudge because Nepenthe, but she's out there somewhere. This, to me, that actually concerns me for both myself and Uriah.
Why?
Because who in our group would you take an arrow for first? If it were not our Uriah.
Fair.
And as you swirl this message around in your mind, thinking about Isolde and whether or not she's still out there, you feel that crystalline vial that you were given, that you were told contained some of Isolde's blood. It feels warm. You get her scent again, and you feel tugged in a direction, not so much, she's right there, but you're aware that she's that way-ish, that this thing, again, it's supposed to help you find her, or any descendants of hers, wherever she may be. And what's interesting is Voronika is resonating as a relative of Isolde. They're both Eladrin. Not that wild of a jump. In Voronika, you also instinctively know that Finn has a very powerful Fey relic. I assume you don't have it on display, Finn?
No, it's in a pouch.
Right. But Voronika, you know she has it. And Finn, you realize that, at least on some level, there's some blood connection between Isolde and Voronika.
And I just kind of tilt my head and look toward Veronika. I don't move to show which pouch I've got this relic in. And then I just lean up to Desmond. The other thing I got from Patron.
I know another thing.
Harkon gave you those things.
Harkon, sorry.
I know that he gave you something. I can't remember what it was.
It was that gem with some of his soul's blood in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's reacting to Voronika.
How?
Both
What's it
electric.
doing?
It's warm. Almost
It-
like a soul was holding my hand next to it.
It's not been warm this entire time?
No. It's been a piece of cold glass.
Oh,
Yeah.
then you may need to talk to Voronika.
Well, let's see what game she's playing for now.
Dark Lords have a tendency to play games. I am also curious what it could be about. Let's go find out.
All right.
Also, before we go, we all had worms in our brains. Valentine kind of took those worms out, and I don't know how she did it, but when she gets back, maybe she can do it. I don't know, maybe if somebody else has the thing that she did.
I'm sorry, worms.
Something God brain worms brains. I don't know the specifics of how it all worked. I just know it was there, so we should probably we can go back to the group. And then I was like, right when he says that, he's
out of question. Would Fen know about mind flayers and things like that?
Well,
I do, but
you're from the Underdark. Also, give me a survival check. Tatiana, I think of everyone, the person most likely to have kept some of the worms is you, but you tell me, did Tatiana keep any of the worms?
Well, who's asking? And what they looked, if we get hungry, might need them. And if we need, yes, I kept the worms.
19.
19. Would you reveal that you kept any of the worms, Tatiana, or for now, are you going to keep that to yourself?
I don't think that Tatiana has heard this conversation.
Got it.
So if anybody asks,
it's actually
Finn, with a 19, again, you being from the Underdark, this is probably the kind of thing that you'd be given a heads up about. Mind flayers reproduce by inserting tadpoles into people that change them into mind flayers. But from what you know, if that had happened to any of you, you'd be mind flayers by now. Like, there's not really it's like that. So conceptually, yes, but practically, you're like, that'd make sense.
I just kind of look at him and go, as long as we've been traveling, we would have turned by now.
We also know that what was a month for us was like 5 years for Hildy. She's an adult. So I don't think time really matters here. I feel like if somebody has the power to put worms in us, they get to figure out how long it's going to take us to turn. So 1 sec. And he just kind of looks at everybody. He's like, hey, what was the deal with the worms? I can't remember how Valentine took those out. I don't know who, somebody remembers, I'm sure. How did that work? What was the deal? Like,
yes,
I don't
know
the specifics.
Fen, you're probably still infested.
Sorry, what?
Infested with the worms.
these.
Do you still have those?
No, we shouldn't have those.
Don't bring them.
Well, I mean, they are dead, but
when Tatiana holds her hand out, Voronika and Finn, you both see this for the first time. They look like tadpoles, frog tadpoles. They are small, they are desiccated, they are clearly dead. Finn, you never laid eyes on an actual mind flayer tadpole because, again, by the time you get that close, it's pretty much too late. But you were basically taught it's yay big. These are very, very small, and there's lots of them. Voronika, when you see these things, especially with your intrinsic connection to this world right now, they're not of this world. They're not of any world. And once you see them, you can feel them in Finn too. Once it's sort of tipped off, that you can kind of attune to their frequency, for lack of a better word. there are some inside of her, not in the others.
Fen, you do realize that what's in Tatiana's hands is in you?
Not until this moment.
Yes, and I'm afraid that the only surefire way we know to rid ourselves of them is, Valentine had a crystal, and she's not here. And shall I see what I can do, if anything?
Voronika, you think you could probably affect them if you wanted to.
Fen, would you allow me to try?
Oh, yes, please.
What are you going to do?
Get them out.
All right.
Previously, you all saw Valentine had that odd, impossibly shaped piece of metal that she hit, and it rang, and it drove them out of you. They came out of your eyes, out of your ears, out of your mouth, and fell to the ground dead. How does Voronika get them out?
Turn around, Fen. I need your back.
I do this, but I like lock eyes with Desmond. Like if this goes wrong,
Burn this thing to the ground. Got it.
basically, yes.
I understand.
All right. Going on a treasure hunt. X marks the spot. And she's drawing this on your back. But as she's saying this, you start hearing the birds singing one solid note. 4 large boulders and 1 small. And she pushes with her pointer finger very firm in your spine. And the birds hit this resonance as she says the word dot.
And it's awful. It's awful. You just feel these squiggling mass coming out of you. And again, they come out of the edges of your eyes. They come out of your ears. They come out of your mouth. It's actually worse for all of you this time because at least you were all going through it. So you didn't really get to watch it happen to someone else. And sure enough, they do fall to the ground, squiggling and dying. But Voronika, when they touch the soil, what happens to them?
The soil has these mushrooms suddenly sprout out, and you realize they have a very finger-like look to them. And as each one falls to the ground, these mushroom-like fingers grasp and pull them into the ground until there's nothing left of them.
I'm so glad I don't eat.
And Fen just goes over and retches into a bush.
Nahara just holds her hair back.
Yeah, Desmond's just like rubbing in the middle of her back and just like
But like not looking away from what's happening.
Yeah.
Are you all right? I could poultice or something, something to settle your stomach. I don't think you're wounded per se, but yeah, maybe a little bit of this. It's fizzy. It will help.
Just give Fen like Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah, basically Alka-Seltzer, the Darkonian equivalent.
And Des hands her a flask right after. Pop, you want to chase that with this?
I chug a lot of that flask, and I just go, I'll replace it later. I'm sorry.
Nah, keep that one. Just take it all. Just go for it. I know it's. I'm sorry.
I've had some rough nights, but
Makes me happy that I only like fully grown fish. I do want to go fishing now for some reason.
I no. Oh God, no.
Voronika, thank you so much for helping Fen. We were all rather startled to find out that we were carrying parasites, and thank you for freeing her from them.
Problem. It actually confirmed a suspicion of mine. There's something else on your person. Now that those things are gone, there's something else.
On Fen, you mean?
Yes.
And I just like pat myself down. Like, are there more worms?
No, not worms. Still, it sort of beckons, feels familiar. A pull, a draw.
Oh, yes, that thing. So you're related to Isolde then?
Something of a distant cousin for my former self, but also quite near and dear for someone else who's become part of me.
I'm not following, but
Well, I am more than happy to share if you feel that you have recuperated enough from your recent purging.
I just make a kind of get on with it message, and I just keep drinking from Desmond's flask.
That's smart. It is flavorful.
My mouth is numb. I feel better now.
You want to probably
All
switch that around a little bit and spit that in no bush or something. It's probably a good idea.
Good whiskey.
There's also
Worms,
mint growing over
like,
there if you
whatever
need to
that
chew
was.
on it.
And Desmond just like is confused. It's like, you're sending her to pick the Voronika mint? Like, okay.
It's not like you're actually eating a piece of me. I have more influenced what it has become. Sometimes mint is just mint.
That actually brings to mind a question, if you don't mind, Veronica.
Perhaps I can first answer Finn's. In fairness, you all saw how I became what I am now. You were there for it with Sibilna.
Yeah.
Well, Finn, Sibilna and Isolde had a very strong connection to each other.
Oh, I know. I know.
Yes. Quite devoted. Perhaps obsessive.
Yeah.
So while Isolde is, yes, a distant cousin of mine, I believe on my mother's side of the family, 4 times removed, something we'd need to go back to the family tree book, whatever. But what is part of me now is also reacting towards this connection. In fact, I might have something that might be of service to you, provided you want it.
Depends on your price.
I don't do pricing.
That's a first from a Dark Lord.
Yes, well, I'm not exactly one to follow in the steps of Vaseline and Strahd. Their ways don't interest me. Then take this. It's something I've had. It's something I sketched, working out thoughts, which were mine, which were hers. But it might help you with whatever it is that you have on your person. And she hands you a slip of paper that's been folded over. And when you open it up, it is a startling, accurate portrait of Isolde. And you notice that as it gets closer to you, it actually starts glowing green where the black ink is. The nearer it gets to the object in your pocket.
And of course, this is a world without photograph. And as such, you can only rely on your memory. And although you feel like you have every single line and curve of Isolde committed to memory, the reality is, at times, you miss things. You know, as you look back on your life, you remember your mother and father, but you've not seen them. You know, friends that you've lost, comrades, lovers. You're aware at least roughly, but here with this before you, it's her face. And it will always be with you.
And I stare at the paper for a little bit longer and then carefully fold it and put it in the same pouch with the thing that I forgot the name of that he gave me.
So, I forget the exact name of it too, but it's a crystalline sphere that has some of
Yes.
her blood in it, or crystalline vial rather.
Yes. So those two things are secured in a pouch until much, much later.
Does Finn say
No.
anything?
To anyone or to Voronika? She actually, as she's folding this paper back up, just quietly, and if anyone wants to overhear her, they can. I'm glad I have this, but it just reminds me how much I miss you. I thought I was okay, but I'm not. And she just tucks it away.
Tatiana is surprised to hear this very intimate detail come out of you, Finn, and just touches your shoulder.
And Fen is surprised by this, but thank you, Tatiana.
We're here for you, for your victories and for your pain.
And we are so very sorry for your sorrows.
Thanks, Uriah. And I look at Desmond and go, you understand what I mean. And I say that I thought I was okay, but I'm not. On seeing her face again. I actually pat Tatiana's hand and just kind of look up at Voronika. Well, what now?
Now we go to Uriah's question.
Yes. Veronica, you mentioned that in a very real sense, you are everything here. But when we arrived, we heard what sounded like voices.
Mm-hmm.
The people here, if there are people, are they extensions of you as well? And if not, where have they come from?
Well, Koshmar was before, and then it is now. It had its denizens, it had its people. Some I recall fondly.
But
Some were left wandering.
is that what they are then? Recollections? Something you've created? Or did you manage to spare the populace and preserve them somehow?
Yes.
Which one?
Yes.
I see.
Brother Uriah, you in particular would give me either history or religion with advantage. There is a chance that you would have heard
I will
this
go
from somewhere
ooh.
along the way.
Okay, well, I'm taking that 19, and I'm going to see what gives me the larger. I believe it's religion will give me the larger bonus. Yeah, so that's a 25 total.
Uriah, you heard. Difficult to prove. Heard that there's people who are born, live, and die in these lands, like you yourself. But it was long rumored that there's people that just manifest, that are as much set dressing and trappings of a given domain reflective of the Dark Lord's will, and oftentimes it can be nearly impossible to tell the difference. Just one day there'll be a house in that house is a family, flesh and blood people, but just as much extensions of the will and whim, sometimes of the Dark Lords, but just as likely the dark powers to torment and antagonize the Dark Lord as well.
Yes, yes, I recall now. Esoteric writings, certainly a line of inquiry my father, my stepfather, I suppose, pursued at the Bratislava Institute, that some within these lands are bereft of souls. They're phantasms made flesh. Is that what your citizens are?
Perhaps you should find out.
Thank you for having us, by the way.
course.
Lovely place you have here.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I wasn't exactly fully anticipating your arrival quite yet.
No?
I might know why that is.
Why is that, Desmond?
I do know that Armand is supposed to be on his way here to find you.
Oh, yes. Charming little werewolf had to share that with me. Of Strahd's little imps.
Well, he's not a werewolf.
Remember, ostensibly, you all were sent here to find and kill Strahd's werewolf, the enforcer, Gimmicks.
Yes,
Forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
Yes, I cannot get rid of him.
But can't you just turn the ground into a big pit and then eat him up or something?
And I keep spitting him back out.
We would.
Specifically.
Voronika, when Desmond growls like this, you realize something's changed with him. He's more somehow. He doesn't look different in a way that Tatiana is resonating, but just that ferocity has increased.
So you're embracing more of your being.
Well, I was given a bit of a
Gift.
from someone you may know, Harkin Lucas.
Ah, yes, Harkin.
Yeah, we didn't part ways kindly.
Nor should you.
Yeah, especially after finding out that he killed my father. I will spend the remainder of my days finding him. That's a gift I have to kind of at least attempt to repay. But he did give me a nice little parting gift, as it were.
Voronika, you knew Cyril Droons. You knew he'd disappeared, outranging. You all were young, so the adults were always very vague about it. But he was kind to you.
I hope you seek what you're looking for, Desmond. Your father showed a kindness to all of us, to all the children.
And somehow that's all of the family still just being connected again. Harkin
Yes.
killed my father. Sabelna took my mother somewhere. I don't know where. I need to know. And Armand's on his way here, so hopefully I'll get to
Say hello.
What a bizarre little family reunion.
family reunion indeed.
All of you give me perception checks. Not you, Voronika. You are
I was gonna say.
aware. Right. No, I'm like, Voronika rolls 17 dice and take the highest, you know? Right.
That is a 24.
24.
27.
27.
12.
17.
12.
Tatiana's
said
just looking at the worms in her hand.
Yeah, right.
You said investigation, right?
Perception.
Oh, it's such a good thing I have a plus on it, but I only got an 11.
You know, Tatiana, indulge me if you don't mind. Would it be fair to say that Tatiana would attempt to feed one of these worms to one of those six-legged birds?
Yes, but only so I can do the thing on the bird's back. Because Veronica and I used to do that when we were children. And like,
Listen, do you want six-legged mind flayers? Because that is how you get six-legged mind flayers.
What kind of monster? The worm is dead. I said repeatedly,
Okay, all
the
right.
worm is dead. Otherwise, six-legged bird mind players would absolutely be coming back. I'm gonna
Are
I
say
feel like it's you
Are you
though,
gonna-
so nah. I'm expecting
what is
six-legged
dead
mind players.
may
Please
never
continue.
But are you going to mama bird it into this?
Oh boy.
No.
there's only one way to feed birds. How else would I feed a bird?
I'm gonna say, while Tatiana is mama birding dead mind flayer worms to a six-legged bird, that's why Finn is slightly distracted.
Nah, Fen is still like shuddering in revulsion.
Wow.
Before I tell you all what you hear, Uriah, while Desmond and Voronika are having this moment of reflection about family in the past, you remember there was something that you'd asked Nahara about when Flintlock Vage had the file and gave it to her, and she opened it up and saw something about herself. She didn't tell you what it was she found.
Taking this opportunity, Uriah will sort of work his way back to Nahara and just sort of glance over at her. And is now a good time?
Oh, yes. I got very distracted by, well, that now.
Well, yeah,
You know, I just
And-
what's
hold on.
happening?
I don't mean to interrupt, but I have to know. Tatiana, give me animal handling with advantage. Let's find out how well
You
this
are very
goes.
fixated on what I'm doing with these worms. Don't worry about it. Not 20. Oh, it changed. This is 17.
You know what? I'm still gonna make it a net 20. I'm overriding D&D Beyond.
It did land and then it rolled.
What? Actually, I realize we're trying to do something else, but I have to know, between Tatiana and Voronika, between the two of you, if this goes as well as it possibly can, what does that look like? Tatiana, you tell me Tatiana's part of it, and then Voronika, you can tell me Koshmar's reaction. The best it can be.
The best thing that could happen for Tatiana in this situation is she mama bird feeds a mind flayer dead worm to a six-legged, terrifying yet kind of adorable bird, and then it's like times 20 in size, and she can ride it around. And they're best friends, and they frolic through fields. Obviously.
Okay. But every time it opens up its mouth, instead of a single tongue, it now has 6 tongues that fill around.
Don't
like
make
tentacles.
it weird.
So we got a 6-legged chocobo. Great. Fantastic. All right. Perfect. Sorry, Uriah and Nahara.
Oh, yes. Is this a good time?
Yes. This is going to be difficult for me to say, Uriah. And as she takes both of Uriah's hands in hers, I was told a former life of mine, and I was told that I had lived in Darkon and was slain as a heretic by Azalin Rex. And I was a heretic because I was a cleric of the Raven Queen.
I see. Yes. Yes, Aslan frowned upon all religions that were not the Eternal Order, a completely bogus religion he created to control the state. But when was this? How long ago?
I'm not sure. But it must be why he was so eager to seek me out. I don't Not that I ever thought that he had the best intentions for me, but I fear him now even more so.
Don't worry. Don't worry. He can't harm us now. In your head, you hear, I am always near my pupil. Am I not your patron?
And she does say this out loud. Yes, I know you're my patron.
Sorry?
Uriah, I can still hear him. He's still here.
Of
And
course.
Strahd, I heard Strahd's voice in these cards.
Strahd, but he's gone, isn't he? He's gone for good this time.
That's what I thought, but I still heard him. He still spoke to me. I think I could maybe ask Granny about these cards and what they mean. If they are a deck of souls, then perhaps there's something to that, but
Nara,
I still heard him.
Nara, it doesn't matter. None of their schemes or machinations, nothing that the two of them do will ever come between us.
You're right. You're right. We have each other.
Yes.
In that moment when you say we have each other, you, Nahara, Uriah, and you, Desmond, hear a violent crashing sound. And a tree twice as wide as a man comes hurtling up out of the air directly towards Voronika with an uncanny accuracy, thrown by something almost impossibly strong. Voronika, you of course are immediately aware of the uprooting and the incoming. How does she react?
She basically phases back into the ground and jumps back up. Just enough out of the way and shouts, "You missed again, you furry mongrel."
Let me find you, and I will deliver my message properly.
Tell you what, help me with this one, and I think I might be able to help you out with at least one of these lovely Dark Lords out there. And she looks directly at Tatiana.
And
With pleasure.
now, your quarry having been located, is an excellent time for us to take a little break. So we're going to do a quick 10. Be right back. Don't go anywhere.
I'll see you soon.
and we are back. Two things. Apparently, the stream is going out in 720. I don't know why. Everything is still set to 1920 by 1080, and the internet is all green. So I don't know. You know, today's the day for 720, I suppose. So apologies, everyone, that you're getting denied seeing everybody's beautiful faces in ultra glowing HD. Second thing, I have been remiss. I apologize for not listing our patrons to thank you by name recently. Multiple times, everybody's been like, remember to thank the patrons. And I'm like, absolutely, I super will. And then I try and set up some wild cliffhanger for the break. And then we go in and we're doing the thing. And I'm like, I didn't thank the patrons. So guess what I'm about to do? I thank the patrons. Thank you too. Blackwatch Ronan, Blue, Chris Lewis, the Pretzel Bear, Christopher Clindering, Craig Savage, David Bonney, Ducati, Eric the Cleric, Forrest S. Moore, Graffumbly, Guy Vandenbrink, Henry Kalhoff, Just Link, Kyle Garrett, Lady Voronkova. Lady Voronkova. Every time I see it, I'm like, Voronika? What? Legia, Mecha Shiva, Mercury Malunas, Mr. Albert, Nathan Crowder, Nick Bernard, Nucking, Futz, Nightcrawler, Project Wolf Bear, Reese, Reverse Aquamath, Ronan Monkey, Rosie and Sean at Sip Happens, Rum Soaked Chicken, to Queen Bee, War on Reality, Wheels of Death, and Zort 1. Thank you all so much. You literally make it possible to do what we do. Also, here with just 7 episodes left, there's a lot of names on that list that have been there from the very beginning, from the very first time. So thank you all so much, especially. Also, I'm terrible, and I need to remember this, but if you're going to be at Gen Con and you are one of our patrons, especially if you're one of our higher tier patrons, message me, DM me on Twitter. I would say DM me through the Patreon, but the Patreon messaging system is super jank, and I often don't get notified. DM me on Twitter if you're going to be at the show so we can make sure that we get to say hello and thank you in person. Right. So, with that being said, back into our story. Here in the land of Koshmar, your enemy, Gimmicks, has revealed himself by hurling a tree at Voronika, seemingly squishing her to the ground, although she simply shot down and came back up somewhere else. Voronika, you are, of course, aware of his location. You've been misdirecting him this entire time. Are you going to let this hulking werewolf come to you? Or are you going to bring the group to him?
Which would you rather? He come to us in the clearing or we go after him?
Yes.
Desmond, it's a yes or no in terms of that's not going to work. Yes, you
No,
want to go to
both
him?
work for me. Bring him to me. Let me chase him down. I don't care.
Oh, so we get to play
Got
cat and
some
mouse. Let's
kids.
taunt him over. Shall we?
Shall I?
Missed again. Perhaps you need to try harder next time, you worthless mangy mutt.
Because of Desmond's growling, Tatiana gets excited and begins to rage.
Voronika, am I clear? It is your intent to no longer intentionally obfuscate where you are, correct?
Exactly.
A moment later, out of the woods, you all see a half-orc. Large, strapping, 6'6", covered in scars. And he comes out and he looks both directions and he turns and looks at all of you and he just says, "Oh, right. It's the cub." And just stands there and kind of puts his hands on his hips and turns and looks right at you, Nahara, and bows, "My lady," and stands back up.
Ah, right, because of the whole Tatiana thing. Gotcha. I'm going to form of dread as a reacting to that. And
Since
just
we-
levitate up into the air slightly.
Since we haven't described it recently, what does Nahara's form of dread look like?
Nahara's eyes go completely white and seem like they're just shining from the inside out. Her wings become, instead of feathers, they become flames. And there's this like glowing disc behind her that has sigils and glyphs across in a circle, kind of like a mandala.
As you do this, you see this orc's eyes sort of narrow, and he says, "Spooky. Lady Voronika, before I start twisting the heads off of your pets here, I should probably deliver my message. Count von
The only
Zar-
pet I see is you.
Count von Zarovich saw through your ruse. Surely you didn't think this pitiful band would be capable of harming the greatest of the Dark Lords."
Do you want to tell him or can I?
Oh, let me do it.
Oh, go for it, please. Please tell him. This thrills me to
Your
no end.
lord is dead by these. What did you call us? Doesn't matter. Your lord is dead. Come and say hello.
You think they were weak? You think they were foolish? You think my plans wouldn't work?
As
You
she
are a
is saying that,
fool.
every time she ends a sentence, like Desmond just flicks a limb and that limb changes. So he just
You underestimate me. You underestimate him.
and then he crouches down and flexes. And then when he stands up with both arms wide, fully flexed, and he is larger than you've ever seen him.
You see Gimmicks.
Who's the pup now?
Gimmicks just cracks his neck and he says, "My Lord Strahd said I couldn't hurt her," and points at Nahara. "The rest of you, mine," and begins. When he grows, it is a terrible, twisting, misshapen thing where you hear limbs cracking and popping and things bulge in painfully shifts into this huge, hulking werewolf, which seemed incomprehensibly big before, but now, Desmond, you are the same size. All of you roll initiative.
Before we fight, I pop my beast form, not my dread form.
Perfect. What does that look like?
Nice.
Basically like a cross between a bear and a werewolf, but my wings still pop out.
A bear wolf?
A winged bear wolf, yes.
A winged bear wolf. Give me just a moment here. Need to check one thing. Oh, never mind. I was looking for something that I already have the answer to. Perfect. So I'm gonna start with our Dark Lord, Voronika. Initiative man.
I got a dirty 20.
Perfect. Desmond.
Oh, it was on that one.
I mean, you're not accustomed to all of this. Like, you're not going last in the first round. You're going first in the second round. Instead, you're like, that's come at me. You know, come at me. Tatiana.
18.
Excellent. Uriah.
14.
Finn.
Also 14.
And Nahara.
18 as well.
Perfect. All right. We will deal with that individually momentarily. I just need to check one thing. Yes. Our lovely Gimmicks is going to go first. As he stands there in front of you, he lowers his head and charges, just runs straight towards Desmond. And he doesn't even rip with his claws or with his teeth. It is like he just lowers his head like a battering ram and just charges right into you. What is your AC currently, Desmond?
16.
Give me a strength save, please.
Fancy.
Hmm.
11.
You all see he comes crashing forward. In Desmond, you truly have never been hit this hard in your life. He hits you for 38 points of damage, and you all see Desmond goes hurtling and smashing through the trees, is knocked prone. And Gimmicks just stands there. Ah, pitiful. Voronika, it is your turn.
You see Voronika's fingertips grow black as this green bolt shoots from her fingertips, and she is going to blight him. I need a con save.
He has a not insignificant. Oh, yeah. That's a 32.
All right, then he's going to make it. I will give you the count for what he gets on the fail or the successful save. 8d8 necrotic.
Perfect.
But I need to roll it first.
It's a lot. Well, while you can give me that when you have it, because we had several 18s. So between Tatiana, Nahara. Oh, Tatiana and Nahara. What? Sorry, Nahara. Were you 14 or 18?
I was 18.
So actually, Tatiana and Nahara are simultaneous. I will let you two decide who's gonna go.
Is that usually by dex or what?
It
what would you-
usually is, but I
Go ahead.
If one of you just wants to go, yeah.
As I'm thinking about the animal inside me, I see your wings bring you up in the air. It's very powerful.
And as Nahara's is lifted up in the air, as her eyes turn white, you see the diamonds and the stars on her crown also begin to radiate with light as she casts Crown of Stars.
Perfect.
And one of those beams of light goes shooting towards
Gimmicks is his name.
Gimmicks.
Gimmicks.
Yes.
Voronika, did you have that damage, ma'am?
Yes, had he have not saved, it would have been 50. So instead, he only takes a paltry 25 necrotic.
You do see his fur begins to melt and singe as the blight moves through his muscles. But Voronika, you notice, actually all of you see this, as the skin is dying from the blight that she's put on him, it's healing almost just as quickly. It's like it is dying and reforming like right in front of you.
Now you see why I need your help.
This is going to be fun. What did he need to save, or was that an attack from you, Nahara?
It is an attack, and
Okay.
I rolled a 24 to hit.
That is enough.
That is, hold please for damage.
Mhm.
38 points of radiant damage.
Perfect. You see when this slams into him and burns him, it starts healing also, but nowhere near as quickly. Anything else from Nahara?
Let me see if I have any. No, that's it.
After this happens, blindingly fast, almost faster than your eyes can register, he just streaks a claw out and swipes right at you, Nahara, in midair. What is your AC currently?
15.
He rips down you for 20 points of slashing damage.
Oh.
And give me a strength save, Nahara.
Okie dokie. It's a dirty 20.
Wait, let me double check something here. That actually is not enough. You all see with horror as he reaches out and just grabs Nahara out of the air and has her. But Tatiana, it is your turn.
That makes her even more angry, but she already was starting to bulge and become larger, veins popping, eyes red. And then she wild shapes as a bonus action.
Into an owlbear?
Always into an owlbear. Take that! Are you saying I can? I'll be an owlbear.
I'm absolutely saying you can. Well, wild shape into whatever you like so you don't suffer mechanically, but it looks like an owlbear. Things are weird in Koshmar.
Yeah, bears look very much
Hell
like owls.
yes.
They kind of a blended together type of thing happening. Don't worry about it. I'll explain it later.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and attack, Tatiana.
Okay, so this is a brown bear, but this brown bear is wearing gloves.
And
We're
has an
gonna
owl
use
face. What?
first we're going to use the bite and then the claw multi-attack, but one at a time.
Go ahead. And do remember that your gloves of soul catching can do multiple things, so keep track of that.
Here is the thing that it can do. So the gloves of soul catching. First, I need to steal a bit of soul. Then I can use them to either regain hit points or gain advantage on an attack roll.
Perfect. Well, let's go ahead
Before
and attack him.
next turn.
Got it. Well, let's go ahead and roll it. Again, Daniel Kwan, good friend, made those. Shout out to a homie, one of the developers on Into the Motherlands.
Here we go.
I had to put his item in here.
And that's gonna be a 7.
You come lunging forward with your gloved claw, and with his other hand, he just oh, you went to bite first. Just puts his hand on your muzzle and forces it closed.
Tiny
Tatiana.
beak.
Tiny beak. Down, girl.
I do get the chance when it's right here up close to get an extra. Oh, that's no.
Oh, no,
That's not what gloves do.
But you still have a multi-attack. That is only one of your attacks. Feel free to proceed with the next one.
And now it's right where I want it, up close. No, that's a 14.
Same thing, Tatiana. You are swinging valiantly, but he is holding you by the head and pushing you away, and holding Nahara with the other arm. Tatiana, give me a strength save.
I get advantage.
Because you are raging. Yep.
$25.
You very much feel like he's trying to pick you up and throw you like he threw that tree, but he can't get you off the ground, Tatiana. He might be managing to avoid your attacks, but he's not that strong. Might be some hope for you yet. The cub already disappointed me. Hopefully you won't.
Ooh! Ooh!
Hoot growl, right? Now, Uriah and Finn, you two both had 14. So between the two of you, who would like to go first?
Actually, I think I can set Finn up for something.
Oh.
As Uriah looks over to Finn and does this sort of hand motion. It's very complex, and you haven't worked out anything before. And he's just like, I can open a path to the grave. I can open a path to the grave. And that's what he does. So path to the grave is actually before he does that, as a bonus action, the spiritual weapon will form. This time it takes the form of Ezra herself, one of the iconic statues of Ezra, then suddenly transforms into a massive, monstrous raven, which attacks with its beak. And this is going to be an upcast version of spiritual weapon.
Perfect.
So for the attack roll, that's a plus 11. Does a 23 hit him?
A 23 does hit him. And also, Voronika, if your crown is pleased by this, would it resonate with warmth, or would it actually be a chill that goes through you from the Raven Crown?
Probably chill, considering my good friend, the Raven Queen.
Yes. Somewhere.
No, she had me over one time. It was great. It was fun. But, I was there for Desmond and Tatiana, really.
Okay.
Yes, that is enough, Brother Uriah.
And that does 24 points of, I believe, force damage.
Excellent.
And then as the actual action, a path to the grave is opened. So the very next attack on him that succeeds will do, he's vulnerable to all of the damage.
So,
No resistance, no anything, and it does double damage.
what is your AC currently, Brother Uriah?
Currently 19, thanks to the Book of Exalted Deeds that I read.
You see, Brother Uriah, although he is holding Nahara with one hand and Tatiana with the other, his clawed foot lashes out at you and scratches you for 20 points of slashing damage.
Oh, I'm going to want to hit that with a remove curse.
And he just looks at you and says, I realize my lord will be upset that I damaged his lady love here. But perhaps if I bring him your head, he'll forgive me.
My deepest condolences, but your lord's beyond all caring one way or the other.
Is it a free action to spit on him from up, like with his
Absolutely.
sweet?
Spitting is a free action.
Cool. Done.
Nahara, you also feel the sunblade begins to vibrate violently in your satchel. It's like, Finn.
Noted.
So again,
Yes.
Path to the Grave, for anybody who's
Path to the grave is opened.
was not familiar with this, the next single hit will inflict double damage. So hit basically whatever the biggest single hit you're capable of generating. That would be the thing
Really?
you should go for. Yep.
I can use weapons and armor in this form, so
Mhm.
I get 2 attacks with Longsword of Vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Only the first hit will be
Right.
doubled.
Right. Well, hopefully this hits him.
Believe
Ooh, does the 24 hit him?
it does.
All right. And that is a D8. Actually, I'm two-fisting this. It is a D10 on damage.
Have at it. Do you have any particularly high power spells? I don't think you can Guiding Bolt.
I've got Eldritch Blast, which hits 3 times.
Same thing. It'll only be the once. It's gonna be the same as hitting him with the sword. All right, go for it.
That is, if I could read this, that is 14, thus 28 points of damage.
It bites deeply into him. And as his blood starts pouring out, Finn, give me either perception or survival with advantage.
Oh, lucky. I get both of those anyway with advantage.
Hey, so whichever's higher.
They're both a +1, so. All right, could you let me. Did I actually roll it? I did. Haha. I think. I did not roll it. The dice are not rolling for me. So I'm just going to use my Dark Lord dice.
That's the best way.
One is a nat 20.
Hey, wait, which Dark Lord's die was the 20 then?
Jason Carlfy's in chat.
Oh, there it is. The Vampire Lord. You know what's funny? Hand to God. I just picked up my Vampire Lord die and rolled it, and it also was a 20. Praise be to Strahd. You know? He's with us here in spirit.
And in chat.
And in chat. You know what? Fan, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to give you that 20 on your attack, not just on the perception, so you'll be able to hurt him even worse. But
Okay.
as this blood starts coming out, when you smell it, this isn't just a normal werewolf. You've now seen several, and you've got a bit of the beast yourself. And you recall that among his many titles, Strahd was also a master necromancer and an incredibly powerful wizard. He's done something to this thing that is very, very different.
Oh boy.
It's almost like you've got the scent of like several animals and also death. Like his blood, it makes no sense what you're experiencing.
This is some Frankenstein. Yeah, a drow scientist, you'd never know him.
Sounds like some Lamortian nonsense.
Can I, as a bonus action, bite him?
Yeah, if you have bonus action bite, you sure can.
I have predatory strike, either with strength or dex. It's actually higher with the dex.
Whichever you want to do, roll it.
Alrighty. Oh, my dice are not rolling for me. I've clicked this 4 times. All right.
Might have to clear your cache.
Maybe. That is a 24.
Again, praise be to Strahd. Although part of me was hoping it was the Voronika die.
No, actually it was. I picked a different die.
There we go. Hey. That is a hit.
Okay.
And I believe as a blood hunter, there's things that happen when you get a taste of someone's blood, isn't there?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
I would just like to say as an aside, while she's putting everything together here, one thing that has come up more than once is blood hunters are very specialized against things with blood. Ravenloft has a shockingly high number of bloodless adversaries. Most of them are already dead when you get here. So,
oh, interesting. He's not at 0 HP, is he?
He is not.
Aw, dang it. But I can do a blood curse of exposure as a reaction.
Reaction would be if you get hit by him.
No, it's for a blood curse of exposure. When a creature you see within 30 feet of you takes damage from an attack or spell, you can use a reaction to remove any damage resistance dealt by the triggering attack spell, including the triggering effect.
Interesting.
This lasts until the target's next turn.
I will tell you, just so you don't have to waste your reaction, he does not have any. Well, actually, he's got quite a lot of resistances, but none that he has used yet.
Oh, well, I could hellish rebuke him, but he hasn't hurt me yet.
That is true. Not yet.
All right. Well, how much more? That is just another 6 damage, unfortunately.
No problem. Yeah, getting you're very clear now, especially having tasted it. The stack on that natural 20. That he's basically Strahd's personal experiment. Like he's done all sorts of things to this.
Does his blood taste weird?
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, it is wholly unnatural. It doesn't poison you, but it is not pleasant at all. It doesn't smell good. It doesn't taste good. Yep. Desmond in the trees.
Before Desmond's turn, at the end of Fenn's turn, Desmond just like feels extra energy for some reason, and he just moves to push a mauling pounce, which moves up to its speed without provoking opportunity attacks and can make 1 claws attack against each creature it moves past. So he's gonna run past this guy to swing on him.
So because you were prone, that'll take half your movement, but you can get to him. But basically, again, remembering all this happens in 6 seconds, you see he just collides with Desmond, who hurtles into the woods, and a few seconds later comes hurtling out of the woods and collides back with him. So, yep, go ahead and roll it.
And run of the claws. That is to hit. We are looking at I think it was like 1 off. 13.
That is not enough, Desmond. As you come flying out to maul him, it's just like he steps to the side as you go hurtling past. No training, some potential. Clumsy.
And right when he says that, Desmond kind of just like cracks his back and just,
What do you think this is?
and
And it is actually
goes
your
into
turn.
his turn.
Yep. Mhm.
Perfect. With that, Desmond, with the
Tatiana.
multi-attack,
While you see Desmond preparing to attack, he just looks down at you and he says, "You druid, you have some strength. Perhaps if I let you live, you might teach him something."
Woo!
But yes, Desmond, it's
So-
your turn.
while Desmond is like cracking his back, like he just kind of like shrugs it off, and you see like some of the scars that he got when he went into the trees just start to heal up ever so slightly. So he's looking a little bit better than he did a minute ago, and he is
Pissed.
so he's gonna go for the multi-attack for a bite
Mm-hmm.
and claw. So leading in with the bite, that is a 21, I believe.
That is enough.
Perfect. So with that, that is 2d8 plus 4 on the damage. So let me roll these up really quick since I don't have them out here. And that will be 12 damage.
Perfect.
And there's also 4d6
Perfect.
of necrotic. That is another 14 damage. And nope, that other thing doesn't count.
Perfect. Anything else?
After that, come with the claws, because that was just the bite.
Oh, okay. Huh.
And so roll the claws. I think I'm gonna roll the actual die this time because I don't know if I trust this. 22.
That is more than enough. Yep.
Perfect.
With those claws, he counts as a creature now, yes? Has he's changed?
Oh, yeah, he's a creature.
Perfect. He's got to succeed on a DC 17 strength saving throw.
All right.
And since that can be hit, I'm going to roll this damage really quickly for the hit.
He does make that save.
Okay. 10 damage, though.
Mhm.
Just for funsies.
Perfect.
And he just kind of looks at him just like,
Oh, still think I'm a cub.
Anything else from Desmond?
I think that is. I feel like I have the 2 attacks, and that should do it.
You,
Yep, yep, yep.
especially you being this close to him, all of you see his hide begins reforming. Like it's healing so quickly you can hear it. It's covering back up over the wounds. And he holds his head back and roars. And it's so loud a shockwave goes out. Like the trees around begin shaking as everything shakes violently from this. I need everyone to make a Constitution save.
Albert Tatiana has a 25.
25,
This is 24.
18.
24, 18,
Dirty 20.
30, 20,
28.
20,
28.
28, Uriah.
17.
Unfortunately, only Uriah fails.
Damn.
As all of you sort of dig in and just sort of grunt and take it. Uriah, you take 44 points of thunder damage
No.
Lost.
and are knocked prone. Knocked to
No.
the ground. The rest of you each
I'm all right.
take 22 points of thunder damage. That's not accounting for your mitigation, Tatiana, or anybody. That's not accounting for anybody's mitigation. 22 points of thunder damage and are not knocked down.
A raging Albert only takes 11.
Quick question.
Yes.
Is Hellish Rebuke only on my turn or in reaction to being hurt by a target?
Reaction to being hurt, period. So you absolutely can hellish rebuke him.
I'm a hellish rebuke.
As will I.
What's the what are your save DCs for him to because the
Oh,
hellish rebuke is a
God.
dex save.
17.
17?
I don't know. 14, I think. Yeah, 14. Or my add. If I have to add my dex, then it's a 16.
No, it's just what the save against your spell.
14.
He does make the save against both. So roll it, but as the flames erupt. And he looks at you in his hand, Nahara, and just says, "See what my lord likes about you."
Oh, and for the record, Uriah made his concentration roll, so the spiritual raven is still there.
Perfect. However, that is Desmond. This is like the best and the worst thing because he attacks with advantage, and I rolled a 1, and I also rolled with a 20. So since I'm terrible, he says this to Nahara and looks right at her, but without taking his eyes off Nahara, whips Tatiana over and smashes the owlbear over your head, Desmond. And
I was going to say hit me instead, but you did that too.
Did that anyway.
Tatiana, since you actually, this is going to work out anyway because you are raging right now. I was like, you were going to only take half damage, but you're already only going to take half damage. You both would take 40 points of bludgeoning damage as he smashes you into each other. Again, not counting your mitigation, but you all see as he knocks her down to the ground without taking his eyes off of you, Nahara, and just pulls his lips back, revealing a row of just cruel and misshapen teeth that now that you see up close are not all wolf teeth. This isn't really your thing, Nahara, but you're like that. There's teeth from different animals in his mouth when he like curls his lips back and smiles.
What are you?
What am I not? The apex, the alpha. That is, however, turn. Voronika. Again. Oh, yeah. Yes, Desmond.
At the end of his turn,
Mhm.
Desmond doesn't like it and would like to swipe,
Have at it.
which is
Just a claw attack.
Yep. Just
I
wanted to double check
appreciate
it
it's
because
just
this is new.
dueling legendary actions. The two of you are like,
It's all new. It's like how am I gonna do this? So it is to
it's
hit.
just an attack. Yeah. Voronika,
nat
you
20.
are effect on natural 20. There you go. Put
Yep.
it back on him.
Nice.
Yeah.
But just
And say what?
just give me the damage when you got it.
All right, 2d6 plus 4, and he does have to make that strength save on a 17 saving throw as well.
He does make that save. You
Hate
all
him.
again. Combat
14
is
damage.
always fast, but these two are moving like blindingly fast. It's just like a blur and then blood splatter right there in front of you. 14 damage. Perfect. Voronika, it is your turn.
Oh, so Voronika's gonna sneer. You keep calling him a pup, and you keep hurting the people that I care about. And yet here you are left by yourself, no master whatsoever, left to wander aimlessly. And she's gonna cast Feeble Mind on him.
What's the save he needs to make?
22 intelligence.
Ooh, that's not his strong suit. Ooh, it's gonna be close.
Didn't think it was.
That was an excellent, legally distinct Krusty Krab.
Crunchy the
you very
clown.
much.
That was crunchy.
Crunchy the clown. Crunchy.
Yes.
You said he needed what?
22.
He got dirty 20.
Oh, what a shame for him.
Voronika, as he's standing again over Tatiana and Desmond, still holding Nahara, turns and looks at you and says, "I don't believe your lies,
What a shame. It looks like you do. Oh, you poor little whelp. And he takes 25 psychic damage.
I believe, does his intelligence and wisdom not both drop to 1?
His intelligence and charisma both drop to a 1.
Amazing.
You all see he just sort of stands there. Drool begins pouring down out of both sides of his mouth. And like his lip just kind of kicks back slightly. He looks confused. Perfect. Now I got to figure out what an intelligence 1 character is capable of. Not much. Again, Nahara and Tatiana, technically you're simultaneous, but it's between the two of you who
Do we
goes.
just keep the?
Oh, Veronika's gonna
I
say,
had a-
by the way, he's really not too bright anymore and really can't convince
Perfect.
anyone of anything.
If you don't mind.
Oh yeah, let's keep it.
Okay. She looks down at him and says, "It looks as though someone needs to learn their place. And I'm going to have to be a little heavy-handed," as she takes out the sun sword, chops off his hand, and then bonus action far steps up 60 feet above him.
Is you put your hand on the hilt of the sun sword. Again, it communicates by emotions. It's just like as the blade ignites. Voronika, as this blade of pure sunlight comes out of this thing, I'd say, yeah, you're actually not really a fan. Not really a fan, honestly. But as you go to swing at his hand, he doesn't budge. Roll your attack. You can roll with advantage.
Oh, right. That I rolled 17 on the die for both of them. So that is 22 to hit.
More than enough. You bite deeply into his hand. When his hand hits the ground, Voronika, what happens? Because it is still twitching and moving.
Oh, he gets a nice little handshake from the finger mushrooms that come back up out of the ground and pull it right back in. In fact, a little bit faster.
I love it in art and audio. If you're here, I want to see it.
Everyone should be following Art and Audio on Twitter, by the way. Paula, friend of the show, she tends to live draw these things, and it is just...
So that is 13 points of radiant damage for that, and then I am far stepped.
Her
above.
actual handle, is it Art _ Audio, right? Or is it no?
Art
no
underscore and
Underscores, yes.
underscore audio.
Right, perfect. Got to make sure I give the proper branding for our homie, Paula. Yes, the hand slices off. You far step away. When you cut it off, he roars in pain and recoils. Because again, even an intelligence 1 creature is aware of damage, but doesn't seem to react in any other way. In Tatiana, it is your turn.
Well, that's a good thing because this owlbear is even angrier for this first multi-attack. I attack recklessly.
Have at it.
Ooh, okay, that's a 22.
More than enough.
Yes!
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Okay, we got 7 plus 5 plus 2 from raging is
Now,
plus 2d10.
and now again, you can either choose to heal as you're literally sapping his life force away with the gloves, or you can give yourself advantage.
Of course, I am not going to waste this soul on a little HP. Ooh, that was 14 plus 15 is 29.
Perfect.
Okay. So 14 regular, 15 with my soul stealing gloves. And so that is how much HP I could get. But you know what? I'll just take advantage on my next roll. Don't worry about it.
Roll it right now. It's multi-attack. Nahara, this is the first time you've actually seen her really using these things. And you are acutely aware of the fact that she is, in fact, actually stealing parts of his soul. When she's punching him with her owlbear claws, when they retract, you see the essence coming out of him when she's doing this.
Nahara feels a little guilty that she's a little turned on by this. I'm sorry, Uriah.
Mm.
No, that's fine. Yes.
Nahara gives Tatiana a little wink and is like, "We need to talk later."
I love that this happens when Tatiana is not in her super hot buff woman form, but in her owlbear form.
Yes, exactly.
And Uriah, he's on the ground, but he's like, "Oh, it's all right. You're engaged. You're not dead." But no, you are technically, but well, you know what I mean.
Feelings are not the crime. So the second one missed. That's just 29 points. Some was piercing, some was force.
I just imagine that you're like, boom, and then Nahara's like, hey, and you're like, what? Huh? Oh.
Oh, me?
Perfect. Excellent. Same thing. It was Uriah and Finn were tied. Who wants to go?
I will say one more thing. I
sorry.
do pop my owlbear tail feathers.
As one does.
I would say Uriah is flat on his back, so I think it makes sense for Fenn to go first.
Perfect. You are muted, ma'am.
Sorry, this wouldn't be a stream.
Wouldn't be.
I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I'm in my hybrid form, and I get an extra attack if I do this. So I get 3 attacks on him with predatory strike.
I'm gonna say you can roll with advantage because he's kind of defenseless.
Excellent. All right, Dark Lord dice.
I believe in you. Maybe not the Aslan dice.
You know what's funny? It was one Aslan and one Voronika for this roll.
The Aslan dice have been very good to me. As Aslan.
The first one is a 24.
More than enough.
The next one is a 23.
Also more than enough.
And that's only a 20.
Still more than enough.
All right, so that is 1d6 plus 3 on all of those. So 9, 8, 6. I can math.
9, 8, and 6. That's 17,
yes.
23.
23 damage.
Perfect. Speaking of Asla, well, is that it for Finn?
Ooh, can I retroactively do this?
Yeah, probably.
Crimson Right, as a bonus action, imbue a weapon to strike for 1d6 extra damage of your chosen type.
Absolutely.
So basically I just get an extra 3 more d6. But no bonus. 5. That's another 6 points of damage.
Perfect.
And the damage of choice is necrotic.
Perfect. Speaking of Aslan Rex, he is aware of the imminent demise of one of Strahd's most trusted lieutenants. He's also aware of Nahara's delight at the carnage that she's witnessing, and quite frankly, what Voronika is capable of. This is his first time seeing Koshmar as well. What, if anything, does King Aslan Rex have to say about all this?
You will finally put down the dog of von Zarevich, my dear, as you slew him. Tell me. Keep an eye on Voronika, if you would.
Why would I ever do such a thing? What do you have? Why do you have such interest in her?
She is not the ally you think. There are few you can count on, as you may count on your patron.
She hasn't done wrong by us thus far.
That you know of.
We will have words later. As Nahara remembers the life that she had, and that remembers that he took her life.
Only one of them.
Just one. Maybe. I don't know. There could be more.
I would say
Is she actively thinking of this?
Yes.
That you must understand, my dear. I do nothing without purpose. All of your lives have led you to here. And then you hear nothing. Meanwhile, Uriah is sort of stumbling up to his feet just under the weight of his own armor and whatnot. But everyone can see that the holy glow around him, this aura that he's had since he read from the Book of Exalted Deeds, already, without him casting any spells, you can see the slash from earlier. The wound is closing. You can see his arm was like at a weird angle when he got knocked back, but now it's sort of popped back into place. Go on.
Let me just see if I can insert one small thing. Two small things. One, an odd fuzzy gray cat emerges from the woods that looks strikingly similar to the one that you had that vision of you as a little girl, Nahara. Comes walking out, nuzzles up next to you in the midst you far step over, appears, singing the song of her people. Second thing, Voronika. As Uriah stands up, glowing with abject purity and holiness, how does Koshmar itself respond to him, literally glowing with a divine halo?
Everything that falls into the glowing halo looks pristine and lush and beautiful and what it used to be. Everything beyond its reach looks decrepit, decayed, and misformed and horrifying.
So yes, I believe this aura, it's about a 10-foot radius around Uriah. So yeah, everyone can see the restored Koshmar around him as he stands up. All of that, by the way, that healing was happening automatically. For his action, he's actually going to cast Guiding Bolt. So that'll be a total of 25, which I assume hits. And this
you can
is
roll with advantage in case you want to crit fish, because he's kind of just standing there.
Oh, okay, all right. Ah, that was a good fishing expedition. So okay, and this is an upcast guiding bolt, so this would be fair bit of damage here. Okay, sorry, I don't have that many dice in front of me, so I'm just going to roll this on.
Do it. That is the one of the best uses of D&D Beyond is big old crit pools.
Okay, so come on. Of course, when your dice just hover there, then it's less effective.
I will say, as much as we always talk about it, I went through and I just basically turned off every bit of Zhige and Zaz in it, and they rolled.
I might have too much Zhige. I think I got too much Zhige on this.
It's like they're nearly instant.
It's like, those Vecna dice, I tell you. That is a total of 34 points of damage, so doubled to 68 points of radiant damage.
68. You see it punches a hole straight through him.
And of course Oh, go on.
But even as he's standing there and you see he looks down, you see the hole begins to close, even while he's still on his feet. But yes.
But here's the thing. He is now at the next attack on him is an advantage, and the next attack is the bonus action of the spiritual weapon, which is still active.
Perfect.
And it's 22 hits him, yeah?
That is.
Great. So that'll be 3d8 plus 6. It's 15. That is another 21 points of damage. And basically, as this hole has been blown through him, the raven just sort of like gets in there with like its feet and its beak and is just trying to keep it open. So that's what's doing the damage.
You said another 21 points of damage?
Yes. And that one is force. The first was radiant from the guiding bolt.
Perfect. Hang on a second. 1 second here. Desmond, you see Gimmicks stumbles backwards and like opens his mouth like he wants to say something, but just like mumbly nonsense is coming out of him as he is grievously wounded and turns and looks right at you. And you see somewhere deep in the depths of his mind, there's still a burning flame of hatred as his brows furrow slightly and opens his mouth again, which you also can see clearly. It's all manner of beast. There's wolf teeth, tigers, lions, crocodiles, all manner of things inset into his jaw. But just comes out. And it is your turn.
Before the end of Brother Uriah's turn,
Mm-hmm.
Desmond wants to have a quick swipe, just because he's wounded, and it just feels like a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And that roll is
No.
a 16.
A yes, Voronika?
After Desmond, Voronika has some words.
There may not be much to say after Desmond, so...
See what happens.
All
Let's
right.
see if Desmond is able to do what she's hoping he can do.
Again, you can roll with advantage.
Oh, perfect.
Mhm.
So let me roll that one more time.
Mhm.
And that one's 26.
More than enough. How many dice do you roll for this, by the way? Just a chance?
For the claws,
Mhm.
2d6
Uh,
plus 4.
2d6 plus 4. He
Yes.
has 4 hit points left.
Perfect.
So tell me what it looks like when Desmond slays this beast.
When he opens his mouth and just Desmond says,
It's time for you to remain silent.
and he grabs him by the top of his head, yanks it to the side, and just bites into his neck with as large a bite as he can, and just presses his teeth together until he hears the snap. And he's confident that he's not getting back up.
When you let him slump to the ground, Voronika, what happens as his foul, tainted blood begins to flow into the earth of Koshmar?
Oh, it's not the mushrooms that come up from the ground. It's actually vines surging from the sides of the brush line. And they wrap around the broken neck, the 2 arms, and the legs. And they pull in opposite directions of each other and pull the body asunder and into various parts of Koshmar.
As he's being pulled under, Desmond, remembering the body taker plant, very much just spits all the whatever is in his mouth back so that he doesn't keep any of that, because
Like
it
the
didn't end
best.
well last time.
Uriah will come up and give Desmond a little Darkonian Alka-Seltzer.
And-
Is Seja still
Oh, yes.
just Nahara swoops down, picks her up, and says, she's like, unless you have a sword or some spells, this is no place for you to be. How did you even get here?
Voronika,
Hello.
That might be my fault. Hemlock was looking for a playmate. And her
Oh.
Commodon comes walking out of the brush line, and it's multiple snakes on the back of its shoulders are sort of like sticking out their tongue, sort of smelling the air, and you hear Hemlock just give this little
And as
a
Hemlock,
pleasant
she just
greeting.
jumps out of my lap.
I just like you to know. We're 53, 54 episodes in. 100% of the time we've tried to set up Seja, she was uncooperative, and 100% of the time she wanted to sing the song of her people. We're like, now? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly.
She had her moment. She made curtain.
Today was her day.
She made curtain this time.
Yep.
Perfect. And with that, as you watch Gimmicks torn into chunks and dragged off into the corners of the forest, there is silence.
My cub.
Oh,
And-
you're no cub.
And Desmond changes back to himself and is just, I was talking about him.
Good.
Did anyone else besides Desmond actually take a blow from his claws or jaws?
I
Oh.
shake off
I
my
can take-
owlbear.
Uriah,
Just a scratch.
allow me. All right? And you'll suddenly feel yourselves completely restored as you feel this energy surging up from the grounds of Koshmar. It's not exactly fully comfortable. It's sort of like when you put witch hazel onto an open cut.
Question is if there's not a remove curse effect that goes along with this, Uriah is going to also cast remove curse on anybody who got scratched or bitten.
Tatiana, Nahara, and you were all physically attacked. And Desmond, everybody.
Well,
else
Desmond,
was-
I don't want to like be casting remove curse on
Right.
Desmond.
And
So
Desmond's like,
yeah,
appreciate you.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah, your thing's gone.
Thank you, Mudge.
So yeah, that
So-
like
those of
slowly
us,
backing away
those of
when
us
he
who are
starts
not already lycanthropes. Yeah,
it's a
I'll.
feature, not a bug. Yes.
Now,
Mhm.
when we're fully restored by Voronika, is it just hit points or is this like a long rest scenario?
This is your land.
All
is.
of it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Mhm.
All of it.
thank
You
you.
feel your power
You've
return.
you've done me a great service today. That thing has been a thorn in my side for far too long. Your assistance was greatly appreciated, and I will make good on my word, Tatiana. You.
So you're
That
going to help
rose.
me?
Of course, I'm going to help you. That rose, that black rose, it caught my interest. It's why I left you. I need to look something up. It's connected to Soth,
Yes.
of course. I think it's time you and Soth had a conversation. As to what type of conversation, I will leave it up to you. But that rose has a rather interesting effect when placed in the hands of a Dark Lord. But it can only be used once. And there were rumors about Soth. Apparently, it is possible for a Dark Lord to seek what some call redemption. But it is only evident if they hold that rose and the petals do not fall. But I leave it up to you.
You want me to help him?
Tatiana,
That is entirely your call.
give me a wisdom check. You can roll with advantage. Not a save, a check.
Wisdom with advantage is going to be 14. The other was in that one.
When you just said, you want me to help him? You remember your letter says not every problem can be solved by force, and I didn't believe it when I heard it either. That's the letter you sent yourself.
I don't like this plan. But I like this plan. Not me, but me.
I understand you perfectly.
Thank you. My eyes linger on Nahara for an extra moment, and one eyebrow raises.
I just like awkwardly looks over at Uriah.
Bachelorette party. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That'll be
Mhm.
that bonus episode.
That is not
wait.
Patreon.
Oh God,
content.
Uriah's going to have a bachelor party. That's going to be so awkward. Just amazingly awkward.
You get the mermaid from the Witchlight Carnival.
Hey, now it's a party.
Mm.
Voronika. In Koshmar, the temple, High Temple, was destroyed by Soth. He blew it up. Fortunately, you had already died that night, but the rest of them witnessed it. What state is the temple now in Koshmar?
It's in its full glory. Fully repaired, but the cracks are still there.
Tatiana, you see this off in the distance. You were there when the building was destroyed, and you walked through its ruin to access the Feywild. And yet, you were in this clearing, which should have been nowhere near the center of town, and yet, almost as if she wills it, you see the town center. You see the temple restored. But the cracks and lines and burns and singes still remain.
May I? I walk towards it.
Voronika walks
Inside?
alongside.
Recall, Koshmar, the main thoroughfare at one end was a house that Desmond was sleeping in the night that he woke up covered in blood. To one side, the inn where you and Valentine stayed on the eve of the wedding. To the other side, the house where Voronika was found, cruelly slain. Now we know by who and why. And at the far end, dominating the town, the temple.
So, Soth, if he accepts this redemption, if he is worthy of it, will he still be a Dark Lord?
Do you really think one who wants to be redeemed from this would remain so?
And if you had the choice, would you take it?
There is no time for that discussion right now.
Tatiana, when she says this, another memory springs to your mind. When Soth took you to Sithakis, when he told you that you still weren't worth killing, be no glory in it, but maybe one day, and he showed you his land, you remember that song, that haunting, heartbreaking song he sang that brought the citizenry all stopped and wept openly in the streets, listening to.
I think you have a pretty good deal here, Voronika. I think all Dark Lords, some suffer more.
There's more to your story, Tatiana.
It's not
You
my
need to open a new
story.
chapter. No, this next part is your story.
Desmond, you see it too. Your home. It's not your home. Voronika. Not Voronika. Every memory that you spent in Koshmar, growing up, doing your duty, doing everything you could to get out of it, trying to avoid the trap of leadership, of rule, all the way up to that single terrible night. Yet you can't help but notice as Uriah moves through this place, there's still hints of the home you once knew as he walks past walls overgrown with vines. They part enough that you can see the murals that were painted on them once. The flowers come back to life again and then immediately turn back into Voronika's approximation of what, Voronika, if anything, happens when Uriah gets close to the temple.
The cracks start to glow and even mend a little bit, though almost imperceptibly.
Desmond, what, if anything, do you have to say?
Looks at Voronika and just, you remember so much of home. It's odd to be here knowing that it's not home, but it is. Thank you for letting me see this once more.
There were only ever two things that meant something to me. I remember everything.
I can tell.
Perhaps. And with that, these swirling green and black mists start to feather out from underneath the brush and down from the tops of the trees and filter into the temple and start to surround each of you. And the last thing you see is Voronika just sort of turning her back and walking down the aisle of the temple and out through the front of the temple's entrance as you get pulled into the mists again, floating into who knows where, though chances are very high a certain Soth is waiting.
And as you enter the mist, you all hear that song. Tatiana, you know it. Of battle, of loss, heartbreak. You feel yourself drawn into the realm of Sithakith, the dread domain of Lord Soth. Next week, we will not be dark. We will be on, but we will be on much earlier. We'll be on at 1 p.m. Eastern, which I believe is 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm having difficulty mathing. It's 3 hours ahead. It will be on the Gen Con Twitch. WotC may or may not be live stream or co-streaming it. We're working that out, but we will be live then. And you will find out when special guest Jim Zub is here to play Lord Soth. Can he be reached? Will he bless Tatiana with a glorious death? We will find out Thursday at Gen Con. And the week after that, right back here at 4. Thank you all so much. See you next time.